All right, let's do one more segment. We're going to fly blind on this, but Glenn Greenwald tweeted this out here about the debate, and we're seeing this for the first time with everybody here, doing this live after the Biden versus Trump debate. Greenwald says things were so bad for Biden that even his hardest core media partisans have to admit it. There's no way to replace Biden. He'll never agree to give up power. Even if he did, they can't run with Kamala, but also can't catapult someone ahead of her. So let's take a look at Chuck Todd's raw response to the debate.
Things was, would either candidate look like the caricature that the other campaign has been trying to paint of him? And at the end of the day, Joe Biden looks like the caricature that conservative media has been painting. And there were no clips tonight, right? This was, you saw it before your eyes. Look,
no cheap fakes.
I don't want to just...
No cheap fakes tonight. You can't blame it on cheap fakes.
Yeah, and even to characterize it as a fucking caricature, it's not a caricature. It's the reality.
It's him.
That's why this debate is so damaging, because now people saw anybody who had any doubt that all the cheap fake, all the excuses, as the Republican guy they had on the panel on CNN said, now people can see that all the people who claimed that Joe Biden was doing backflips and talking about policy when you got him in private can see that everyone who said that was lying.
And also, the other thing that really sticks the fork in Biden after tonight is it's one thing if you are, an aging, brain-addled, nothing of a man, but your record is something that your team could run on. Like, if they were to say, well, yeah, look, he's an idiot, but look at this team of geniuses he has around him, and look at how well we're doing under the management of the underlings. But you don't have that. You have disaster everywhere. You have World War III in Eastern Europe. You have a genocide in Gaza, which got almost no airtime this evening. You got, a border that is horrifically mismanaged. I think no matter where you fall on the spectrum, we could all agree on that.
Yes.
You have inflation that is crippling people. You have housing prices that are leaving people cold and homeless.
Putting housing completely out of reach for
you have
families.
A nightmare. So when you have that reality presided over by a guy who is a puddle on the stage, I mean, what? It's not just that Biden is horrible.
Everything's going well.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just that Biden himself was a disaster. It's that when you look at Trump assert confidence that he can right the ship, you tend to buy it because he looks like he knows what he's talking about at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. He seemed very confident. He's gotten better over time, actually. Watching him in this campaign, he's much better than he was in his previous two campaigns. There's definitely been a learning curve. He has become a much better, more disciplined, more on message politician.
Well,
and
that's because
those shark monologues, that just works for him, especially within a context where he's generally more disciplined and on message. That stuff just plays as folksy and on brand.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of this.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what I think here, Tom. I've been talking to a lot of leaders in the Democratic Party, electeds, coalition leaders. There's a full-on panic about this performance. Not like, oh, this is recoverable. It is more of a, okay, he's got to step aside. There's a lot of that chatter. This is about as bad of a performance in order to that Biden could have delivered if his goal was to try to sort of calm the waters among Democrats. I mean, look, there was.
Yeah, so there he is. I mean, this was before, MSNBC or NBC, whichever one he's on, must have sent out the message, hey, try and do some sort of damage control. Yeah, this is either NBC or maybe MSNBC was broadcasting this at the same time. I'm not sure. But that was his raw take. And his raw take, And that wasn't even his take. He was just relaying what he's heard from people. Look, people talk to him. Debbie Wasserman Schultz emailed him specifically in 2016 when he said that Bernie Sanders was treated unfairly. She said, "Stop saying that," and he stopped. So they have his number. Like, you know, higher ups at the party have his number, and they're texting him throughout this. This is not recoverable. This is the bottom has fallen out. Right. So if he's telling you that, that's coming from upper management.
Right. They were hoping, because the expectations are so low, that as with the State of the Union, where all the libs came out and said he nailed it. All he has to do is not fall apart for them to spin it that way, but he did. He fell apart. It was the worst case scenario. Again, the only thing that would have been worse is if he stroked out on that stage. But he did everything but.
So, okay. So we've given our analysis. I mean, that's pretty clear. I mean, so what do we think? Does this actually mean like a net swing for Trump? Does he actually win voters? Do people harden their positions? What do you think? It would give our analysis on that front.
I think his polling will go slightly up. I mean, I don't think there are that many undecideds left to the point where he's going to get a major bounce, but I think he'll get, you know, a 2 to 4 point bounce.
I think Biden's numbers will collapse even further, and they're already bad. Sure. Now, assuming they really do swap out Biden, and Greenwald is right. They're in quite a pickle because they're going to have to find a way to get rid of Kamala. It's not just getting rid of him. Now, I assume that the cleanest way to do that is gonna be when the delegates at the convention vote. That's a whole new ticket.
Yes.
Right? So that way they can, well, it's the delegates. They don't want you. Wait, what can we do? Right? And then you're basically starting from scratch on Newsom, for example, and whoever he would want for a running mate. If Biden almost can't step down now, because then they got to explain why it's not Kamala.
Right. Exactly. So it will take some time there to make a formal decision about how to handle this. But if they can get him to withdraw, he will release his delegates at the convention. He will refuse the nomination, because once they vote for him, he has to accept the nomination. If he rejects the nomination, then that's what they were talking about on CNN. On the second round, they can pick who they want.
Right.
And that's how this would work.
That was the most interesting part out of the entire night to me, was watching all of those people that have been in the game for a little while. They had those 9 people on there. They gave sort of their comment. Yeah. And then you had the real person that's like been in administration, like slow walk them through how it's possible, like, and how it is that you begin to grease the wheels and start, you know, having murmurings about, and then all of those people will come up for the rationality for why you have to make those maneuvers. And then that stuff will start to be the narrative and the propaganda, and then it'll just form a bigger narrative.
Please clap.